This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. In just a minute, I'm going to talk about an offer exclusive to my audience. I guess I also want to thank Matt Gaetz for not being able to get out of his own way. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this to talk about today. Before I get into the nonsense, the bombshell, that's even what the Daily Beast is calling it, the bombshell reporting from the Daily Beast about what just took place with Matt Gaetz, which it is a bombshell. Before I get into that, I want to talk about today's sponsor very briefly, Surfshark. Over the last many months of the pandemic, most of us have been stuck at home, glued to our devices in some way, slowly winding our way toward the very last page of the internet. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I've watched every single vaguely interesting thing on Netflix, and a whole bunch of turds, too. It's time to expand your viewing horizons with Surfshark. Not only are you fully protected from the criminal elements of the web by the myriad aspects of their awesome virtual private network service, you can also access streaming options beyond the limits of your home geography. By using my link, surfshark.deal/Dollemore, you can get a great deal on security and the ability to access streaming titles that aren't available in your home country. And for a limited time, it'll be 83% off of a 2-year plan and 3 extra months for free, making your new subscription just $2.21 per month, so you can browse securely on all of your devices. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about yet, let me tell you. You see, streaming platforms like Netflix have different catalogs of products in every region. By using Surfshark to reroute the connection of your server to a different country, England, let's say, you will be able to access England's vastly different selection of Netflix content. In need of some Doctor Who? UK Netflix. David Lynch's Wild at Heart? UK Netflix. Want to watch Friends for the 400th time? Where do you think that lives? Surfshark has you covered in terms of your web browsing security, but let them open up a wide world of streaming options to you too. Again, use my link, surfshark.deal/Dollemore, and get 83% off of a 2-year plan, 3 extra months for free, making it just $2.21 per month. And as always, they're so confident you're going to love their service, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. All right. Now let's get on with this Matt Gaetz nonsense. I've talked about it before. If you want the full rundown, just search Matt Gaetz and Dollemore. Ugh. Those two names together, not great. But search my name and his name on YouTube, or just go into the My Video tab and look at all of my videos. There's a lot of them there, so it's tougher to search that way to see exactly what I've said and what I've reported on. Talking about the different reporting from the Washington Times, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Daily Beast, Politico had a giant article that I read from. Because I'm not going to give the entire rundown. There's a lot to talk about. But suffice it to say, very briefly, there's a guy named Joel Greenberg who's the former tax collector for Seminole County, who was a party pal of Matt Gaetz. And they would cavort and have drug-fueled parties and pay for sex. And that also, listen, you want to do drugs? Do drugs. You want to pay for sex? Pay for sex. Just don't hurt anybody. Don't have there be a victim to your fun. And a minor cannot consent to sex. That is a fundamental truth. If you're a minor, you can't sign a contract. You can't buy a house. You can't buy a car because you can't sign a contract. You can't enter into an agreement. There is no consent that can be given. Therefore, you're hurting someone. So this isn't an argument, a prudish argument. This is don't hurt people. And they entered into by his own admission here, Greenberg and Matt Gaetz had sex with minors. Anyway, I'm going to go backwards here because I'm going to read in an effort to try to be fair. Matt Gaetz denies. And in the article that I'm going to link to below, read the whole thing. It's very long. I'm not going to read all of it at all. I'm not even going to read a tenth of it. Matt Gaetz gives a statement to the Daily Beast, and here it is. Congressman Gaetz has never paid for sex, nor has he had sex with a 17-year-old as an adult. We are now 1 month after your outlet and others first reported such lies, and no one has gone on record to directly accuse him of either. Politico, however, has reported Mr. Greenberg threatening to make false accusations against others, which seems noteworthy for your story, and in fact sounds like the entirety of your story. Congressman Gaetz has had no role in advocating for or against a pardon for Greenberg, and doubts such a pardon was ever even considered. Now, here's how I know he's lying. It's the fact that the Politico story, nowhere in the story did they say that Joel Greenberg was making false accusations against people. In fact, the Daily Beast clears that up, and they say that the Politico article referred to in the statement does not say Greenberg was threatening to make false accusations against others, but does say that an associate named Greenberg had warned friends that, quote, everyone is going to need a lawyer. That's not... So anyway, so even in his statement, he's lying. So if in his denial, if it's riddled with lies, everything else can be considered riddled with lies. There's no other way just to get into this, but it involves offers of money for a pardon from Joel Greenberg to Roger Stone, the dirty trickster who first had his sentence commuted by Donald Trump, and then a full pardon by Donald Trump. Offers of $250,000 through Bitcoin. And also, Roger Stone had him write a confession. Write out your confession, and in it he says, and make sure you highlight very prominently all of your work for Donald Trump and what a fan of Donald Trump you are. All of this lines up. All of this is what you would expect from these terrible liars and criminals. Anyway, reading from the article entitled Bombshell Letter, Gaetz Paid for Sex with Minor, Wingman says. A confession letter written by Joel Greenberg in the final months of the Trump presidency claims that he and close associate Rep. Matt Gaetz paid for sex with multiple women, as well as a girl who was 17 at the time. Quote, on more than one occasion, this individual was involved in sexual activities with several of the other girls, the congressman from Florida's 1st Congressional District, and myself, Greenberg wrote in reference to the 17-year-old girl. The 1st Congressional District, obviously, is Matt Gaetz' congressional district. From time to time, gas money or gifts, rent, or partial tuition payments were made to several of these girls, including the individual who was not yet 18. I did see the acts occur firsthand, and Venmo transactions, Cash App, or other payments were made to these girls on behalf of the congressman. All of this we have suspected, we have known, I'm going to use that term loosely, but we're just getting more concrete information on this. The Daily Beast has actually even published screenshots of the text messages that I will overlay when those particular messages come up. The letter, which the Daily Beast recently obtained, was written after Greenberg, who was under federal indictment, asked Roger Stone to help him secure a pardon from then-President Donald Trump. A series of private messages starting in late 2020, also recently obtained by the Daily Beast, shows a number of exchanges between Greenberg and Stone conducted over encrypted messaging app Signal, with communication set to disappear. However, Greenberg appears to have taken screenshots of a number of their conversations. Quote, if I get you $250,000 in Bitcoin, would that help, or is this not a financial matter? Greenberg wrote to Stone, one message shows. That is asking to bribe someone involved in seeking a pardon from the President of the United States of America. That, in and of itself, is criminal behavior. And the fact that Roger Stone, who did get a pardon, is involved, is dirty enough. Continuing. I understand all of this and have taken into consideration, Stone replied. I will know more in the next 24 hours. I cannot push too hard because of the nonsense surrounding pardons. I hope you are prepared to wire me $250,000 because I'm feeling confident, Stone wrote to Greenberg on January 13th. In a text message to Daily Beast, Stone said that Greenberg had tried to hire him to assist with the pardon, but he denied asking for or receiving payment or interceding on his behalf. He did, however, confirm that he had Greenberg prepare, quote, a document explaining his prosecution. So Roger Stone, who doesn't know there are screenshots, who doesn't know that the conversation has been documented, who doesn't know they have copies of it, is just lying. But admitting, yeah, I had him write it down. I had him write this letter. Confirmation that the letter exists. In the private text messages to Stone, Greenberg described his activities with Gaetz, repeatedly referring to the Republican congressman by his initials, MG, or as Matt. My lawyers that I fired know the whole story about MG's involvement, Greenberg wrote to Stone on December 21st. They know he paid me to pay the girls and that he and I both had sex with the girl who was underage. Congressman Matt Gaetz. Mouth Matt Gaetz, who goes around accusing others of exactly what he is guilty of. Projection artist. Aligned with QAnon idiots who hashtag save the children when really they don't care about that. All they care about is chaos. As part of the effort to obtain a pardon, Greenberg wrote multiple drafts of his confession letter. The Daily Beast obtained 2 typed versions and an earlier handwritten one. Certified forensic document examiner and handwriting expert Wendy Carlson compared the letter to writing samples obtained through 2 public records requests. She said it was her professional expert opinion that the person who authored a 2019 financial disclosure for Joel Greenberg, as well as Greenberg's 2020 Board of Elections form, was the same as the author of the letter. Quote, the person who authored the forms has been identified as the person who authored the letter, Carlson said. So they've done their due diligence. They've looked through this. They've analyzed handwriting to make sure that it is him who wrote these letters, of which they have copies. They don't just have the screenshots saying, hey, give me the money. I'm feeling good about it. He didn't get a pardon. So Roger Stone's feelings notwithstanding, and we don't know whether he got money. There's no documentation of that. We can assume, I guess, that he didn't. But this story is developing. Obviously, it is developing rapidly. And things do not look good for Matt Gaetz, who is under federal investigation for these things. Do not harm people in the course of you being a dipshit, Matt Gaetz. Anyway, what do you think? I'd like to know. If you dissent, I'd really like to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can also email me, daily@dollemore.com. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for subscribing, engaging with my content. If you're not subscribed, that's great. Commenting, liking the videos, doing all of the YouTube stuff that YouTubers say to do. Anyway, follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. That would be a good time. And also, if you're in a financial position to do so, and only if you are, if I bring you value and you can afford to do so, I would appreciate you helping support my work here on the platform. For fewer than $2 a month, you can click the join button, become a channel member, and help produce my independent commentary and analysis on the news. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Be genuine. Take care of one another.